On this crossing, where the Don greets the Rother and the canal, where the people came to find home and converged, a confluence that swirled and eddied and swarmed, in tension or in peace, in drought or in flood. Like last December when the water came up and stayed up and whirlpooled furious under the bridge, and peaked and roared. Not every meeting is straightforward. For a town to grow, it needs 3 things: a river, materials to exploit, immigrants. The Don was here before fires, before crops, before huts, before tracks became lanes, became streets, became town. They came. They took from his source, harnessing his power though heavy-set and slow. A workhorse, not a deer. A seam of coal, not pretty thread. Fat with barges laden down. He carries us. His voice is gruff. It's the roar of Millers fans on match days. It's the drunks singing down Ship Hill after closing time, clutching lampposts, arms like ropes round mooring pins. It's the chants of the UAF on the days when Britain first came to march. With a mucky laugh, palled with dark foreboding, strewn with beer cans, Tesco's trolleys, crisp packets and half-eaten Greggs. But he isn't choked, or stagnant, or broken, or stalled. He's ponderous and cluttered, and thick and silted, knows the trick is to keep moving, shrug, ask nought from no one. A river with attitude. Even the carp wear boots, hold their grounds in the depths, immovable as bouncers. They sneer at fishermen's hooks, stay out of reach and bask, while youths use locks as dirty swimming pools, and the towpath is littered with the casings from nicked copper wire. A suitcase left in the grass spills out clothes like a crime unannounced, and the Don rolls his eyes to trouble as, after sundown, the water broods beneath the husk of the Gueston Crimes factory, destined to subside into the mud, or rise unbidden into luxury flats should anyone ever decide to invest. This town isn't waiting for your pity or your favours. It survives with or without you through these ages, and still the people come to find home, settle among neighbours they don't understand. The Pakistanis weren't the first or last, perhaps the least inclined to mix with locals of stubborn heart, definite vows, wariness. They came for work, not trouble. A quiet, pious people who brought their weary selves to the school gates, the factories, the taxis, the takeaways, the town hall, and stayed. The trouble with rivers is they need to be crossed. Bridges must hold from both sides like a handshake or a rope. Neither person drops. Foundations cannot be the sort that fray or turn their faces away, like the police and counsellors who didn't value our girls. Straight talking only goes so far. In this run-down, pit-closed, industry-forgotten stomping ground, forged in disappointment and hauling your own self up, where you can turn the heat up and no one jumps, only bends like wrought iron from pit to call centre. If that's what it takes, we're bred tough. If you never tried to turn a keel through wind and tide, never heaved a lock gate shut, maybe you won't know how foolish it is to mock the water as weak, facing its final act. They say there are otters again now. We're still waiting for the salmon to come back. This town isn't waiting for your pity or your favours. A succession of shops shutting down won't faze us. We are floods threatening to overspill the locks. We are gaps in terraces, like knocked-out teeth. With a Hastings clock, keeping perfect time, 100 years on, we are trainers flung on telegraph wires. We are street bazaars, brass bands, mellors, carnivals and galas. We are skate parks, bandstands, Mecca Bingo and Poundland. We are triers. while the dawn sits magnanimous, playing chess beneath the trees, stroking his mangy beard of weed and debris, a glint in his eyes, a tangle in his heart, in companionable silence with his brothers, an uneasy stream, he wraps us, holds us close, enfolds us.